guys, it's Dylan Laine and welcome back to my Q&A. If this is your first time, then what I like to do is pick a question from one of your comments and then answer it without thinking about it ahead of time or writing a script. This means that in the future, I may do a formal video on the question asked, but for the time being, I'm just gonna tell you what comes to mind first. If you have a question, then write it in the comments down below or on another Q&A video or on my Instagram. My Instagram is dylan.laine. Today's question comes from Alexis Coates. Sorry. She says, I always want to write songs, but I never know how to start. Should you start with the instrument or the lyrics? Should you start with writing the beginning of the song first or the chorus? Or is everything really based off of preference and do you just kind of go for it? Well, Alexis, I think that is a great question and it is also a question that I get asked super frequently. Everyone asks this question, and to be honest, there really is no right or wrong way to start the song. There are days when I'll start my songs with the lyrics, and there are days when I'll start with the melody. There are also days when I'll start with just the chords. When I was first starting out as a songwriter, I found it easier to start with one element, such as the chords or the lyrics or the melody, and then once I felt happy with that element, then I would add the others. But after many years of doing it that way, I am now at the point where I can just sit down and sort of do everything at once if I want to. So for example, if I'm holding the ukulele and I'm just kind of strumming different chords and I'm also singing at the same time and everything's just being made up from my head all at the same time, then I might suddenly be like, oh, I really like what I just did there. What did I do? And then I'll figure out what I played and sang. And then I'll take that idea and I'll build off of the idea as a whole rather than just the lyrics or just the melody. But here's the thing. I would suggest when you're first starting out as a songwriter to start with just the lyrics or just the chords or just the melody, and once you feel happy with that element, then I would try building off of it. I know a lot of people will say that they're really strong lyric writers and that once they have their lyrics, they then go on to put the chords to it or the melody and they just feel stuck. And this can be super discouraging because they're really proud of what they wrote with the lyrics, but they can't complete the song because they don't know how to put the chords or the melody to those really strong lyrics. That's exactly why I've made certain tutorials to help with those other aspects. For example, I put out a video recently on just lyric writing, and then I also put out a video on just melody writing. In 2017, I put out a video on chord progressions and how to choose chords for your songs. I'm looking out for you. So I would definitely suggest looking at all three of those videos, and I'm sure there's probably some other ones that I'm not remembering in the moment. But if you really practice each element of songwriting, so if you sit down and you just practice lyrics for a month, and then maybe you just practice melody for a month, and then maybe you just practice writing chord progressions for a month, you know, there's no rush. Take it slow and really invest your time into mastering the different areas. Then try combining them. And I think if you do it that way, you'll notice that your songs are coming out, you'll notice that your songs are coming out much stronger. And I think you'll also feel like you're struggling less in the songwriting process. Now, I've also heard people say that they're really strong with writing melodies. For example, they might just be driving or doing homework and suddenly they're singing this melody or humming or whistling and they think, oh, that's really good. I need to add lyrics to that. Then when they go to add the lyrics, they're just stuck. What do I write a song about? Or do I rhyme with my song? Or how long should my lyrics be? And again, that's where it's helpful to say to yourself, all right, I just need to learn how to write better lyrics. Again, you have to think of each element of songwriting as its own separate skill. Lyric writing, melody writing, and chord progression writing. I'd also suggest trying to keep your songs simple in the beginning for the sake of practicing. So just as you would practice really simple piano chords when you first start learning piano, or really simple guitar or ukulele chords when you're first learning, it's the same with songwriting. I know that you probably hear songs you love and you think, I want to write songs like that. But it's the same as if you listen to a professional pianist and you think, I really want to play piano like that. You don't just learn how to play piano like that quickly or overnight. You have to work your way up to it. And it's the same with songwriting. A really awesome exercise you can do if you're willing to put the time into it would be to say, okay, for the next month, I'm going to spend an hour every day trying to write a song. I don't have to share it with anyone, I don't have to like the song, and it doesn't have to be anything special. Each time you're writing the song, you'll be practicing writing lyrics and chord progressions and melodies. At the end of that month, I can guarantee that you'll be a much stronger and confident songwriter than you were before you had done that month of exercises. So is it better or easier to start a song with the lyrics or the melody or the chords? I think that it's different for everyone. Some people have an easier time starting with lyrics, others have an easier time starting with melody, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the person who has an easier time starting with lyrics can write the melody after the lyrics are done. Or it also doesn't mean that the person that's stronger with writing melodies can write the lyrics after the melody is done. It doesn't really matter which one is easier to start with. What matters is that you have the skill set to be able to write lyrics, melodies, and chord progressions. So with that in mind, my biggest piece of advice that I could give you would be to take time to practice writing your lyrics, writing your melodies, and writing chord progressions, and don't even worry about how to start a song. The more you write, the more you'll figure out what's easier for you. I encourage you to get to the point where you feel confident to write any aspect of the song, melody, lyrics, chord progression, rather than figuring out what's easier for you and doing it that way. Over time, if you keep up with songwriting and practicing, you'll most likely get to a point where you won't really be thinking about what comes first. You'll just sit down with your instrument and a head full of inspiration, and the song will just kind of come out of you. Now, you know I'm a big advocate for not always relying on inspiration in order for a song to come out of you, but like I always say, whenever that inspiration is gone, that's when you take your tips and tricks and techniques and your tools in your mind and you say, I'm gonna write anyways, and I'm just gonna make something up to write about. The second part to the question was, whenever you're starting the song, should you start with the chorus or the beginning of the song? Again, there's no right or wrong answer here, but personally, I would suggest starting with the chorus. The chorus is the foundation for the whole song. It's repeated 3 times during the song. It's also the part that people are gonna remember more than any other part of your song most of the time. Once you have a strong chorus, then it's much easier to build the rest of your song around that chorus since it keeps coming back to it. If you start writing your song from the very beginning or verse 1, that's totally fine. It might just be a little bit harder to build the story throughout the song. The reason being is that if you come up with an idea that you really love for the verse, you're then going to have to structure the rest of the song around one section. This might cause you to feel a little bit limited. However, if you start with the chorus, that's essentially 3 different chunks of the song since the chorus is usually repeated 3 times. Doing this might cause you to feel a little bit less pressure whenever you're building the story for the rest of the song. If you want to check out my video called My Lyric Writing Process, I talk more about this. If you're new here and you're interested in growing your skill as a musician or a songwriter, then you should definitely subscribe. And again, if you have a question that you'd like me to answer, put it in the comments down below on this video or any other Q&A video or my Instagram, which is Dylan.Laine. Until next time, remember to play, write, and spread the light.
Joy comes for free, oh, it's living inside of me, dancing through